Hello everyone and welcome to Mrs. Reds. Today we're going to be having a look at what is inside the October 19 Reds art cart. And if you've watched a few of my other videos, you notice that I've changed it up a little bit. I'm actually using one of the carts for this month and we will open it. This is how everyone who does receive the carts, my art carters as I call them, this is how they receive it, and it's just got the postage label on the top there. So every month, different colours, splattered boxes, love it. So let's have a look at what is inside October 19. So let's just pretend we've taken the sticky tape off for mailing purposes, and we always open up and you get to see an example of what is inside. So we haven't revealed the contents as yet, but you've got a pretty good idea that it's going to be something inky. Now, October in social media land is all about Inktober. So I'm sure a lot of you would have heard of that now. So this cart is inspired by Inktober, obviously. So this is the information card, comes with every cart and always sits on top so that you get a bit of a teaser. On the other side is the products that are inside the cart, a bit of information about them and how much they cost, and of course the YouTube video, which is what you're watching now, and the social media there as well. We'll put that bit to the side there and then take off this, and ta-da, there is the contents of the cart. Let's have a look a little bit more further in detail. Okay, so I've laid everything out on the table. We're not going to be long with this one. I'm not going to do any demonstrations. They're pretty easy to use, all of these products. So we'll go through and have a look at what we've got inside this cart. So we start, everyone's getting one of the muted colours in the Liquitex range. So these are great little bottles. They come with an eyedropper. Actually, this is the colour that I used for the example. So this one here is my bottle. So if I open this one, because I don't want to open one of the new ones, there's the little dropper that you get with these little ink bottles, so that you can actually use the dropper or dip your pen into a pen or brush into the bottle. So there we go, there's that. Now there's 5 of the colours, so everyone's receiving one of. This one being the muted pink, and that is the colours that was used for the muted pink. So it's a real sort of like, I would call that a bit more of a red wine colour if you ask me. So then we move on to our brushes. Now these are just good student grade Taklon brushes. So they can be used for your watercolours, your oils, your watercolours and your acrylics and gouache. The ones that I use, I actually didn't use all 3. I've only used 2 in the illustration. But saying that, when it comes to pressing on brushes, the more you paint, the better you come at controlling how fine you can put a brush to a surface. When you do start, a lot of students will really press down on their brush and it will create quite a thick line. But as you go along, all the lines that are in this artwork, you can see they get quite fine. They have been done with the, what size is that? The size 4 brush. So you're getting a 1, a 4 and an 8. And I use the 8 quite a bit as well. Great all-round brushes though. Always handy to have heaps of these kind of brushes in your art equipment. And then we move on to the pen. Now the pen this month, very, very fine. You're not going to be able to see the, hang on, I'm trying to get into focus here. I don't think it's going to work. No. That pen nib is so super fine. It is tiny. 005. I haven't ever used these Zig ones before. Kind of prone to the Pigma, the Sakura Pigma microns. Very similar. It does exactly the same thing. So it's archival, meaning that the ink is never going to fade on you, and waterproof, which I think are the 2 most important things when it comes to drawing pens. You want them to be waterproof and you don't want them to ever fade over time. Now, I'll show you the original artwork because then that way I can explain that fine pen. So this is the actual original done on the watercolour pad that we'll talk about soon. And if I bring it up to the camera a little bit more, whoops, sorry, I've got to work in reverse here. You can see that that black pen has been used very subtly, and it's very fine, and it was absolutely beautiful to use. Again, you don't want to put any pressure on that nib because you'll break it straight away. It is just very, very gentle pressure, none at all on that. The other thing that everyone is receiving is one of these uni paint markers, very similar to the Posca pen, just a different brand. So I like to try all kinds of different brands in the art cart. Again, loved using this one. The one that I used was the gold. And with same as any paint pen, when you open it, you need to encourage the ink to come down to the nib. So this one's obviously come down, it's gold, they're fine, so it's nice fine lines again. I'll show you again on there, you'll be able to see the sparkle or the glittery effects of that gold pen. So again, lovely to use, can be used on all kinds of surfaces because they are the paint pen. And yeah, always another really handy thing to have in your art supplies. You can never go you can never go without one of these pens, and coming up to the Christmas season as well, they come in very handy for cards, etc. And then the other thing is the watercolour pad. Now, the great thing about these pads, I think there was 15 sheets per pad, 300 GSM from memory, is that they're called a block pad. So they are sealed around the edges on all four sides. And this way you can do your watercolour artwork and you're not going to have any warping happening at all. So I thought for the purpose of this video, I would actually remove this artwork. So this artwork I have not removed yet. It is starting to lift on one corner there. And it was really, really good to be able to use this as it is and then be able to remove it. So I will have a look at now, or I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I think I need to get a, I'll get a Stanley knife actually. Hang on, bear with me. I'll get my Stanley knife out of the way. Now, I would say anything that is, you can see I've never done this before, so it's all very live, showing you how we can do this. Probably a good idea to use a Stanley knife. I am tearing it a bit though. I don't know if you can see that that's tearing along there. Hasn't ruined the paper. Ah, that's it. So once you get one edge removed, which I do recommend to use a Stanley knife for, then the rest of that is going to lift fairly easily. Wouldn't it be terrible if I tore this on camera? Ooh. There we go. And there we have our artwork now removed from the pad, and you've still got, I think it's about 10 or 15 sheets of that left. Beautiful. I loved using this. I want to do some more. Now, the other thing, the other little secret that I want to reveal was this artwork, which is your example for the October 19 art cart, was actually my experiment one. So I didn't film it. I actually was listening to a webinar as I was doing this, and look at it, it worked. It worked from the word go. So it was meant to be an experiment, try the ink, see how it went, see how, I added a lot of water to it, so it's not, you can see here on the splashes, that's quite intense colour. The rest of the jellyfish has been watered down. So I was actually I was putting water on the brush and then putting it down onto the paper. and then putting the ink on top of that. So what I might do is another example and stick it up on YouTube, because I did not film this. This was my experiment piece, and my experiment piece worked. And I was like, well, what do you do? Do you do it again and record it and possibly not do as well? Or do you just go with this one? So I went with this one. I'm sure you understand. So there's that. I'll put that pad out of the way so I don't accidentally sell it. Like I mentioned before, the products are all listed on the back of the information card with their prices, and you can buy everything through Mrs. Red's Art Shop or your local art supply. This little card here is the social media card. So once you've done your artwork, take a photo of it, stick the little social media card onto it so that everyone knows where you got your supplies from. And that way it just helps promote the subscription art cart as well. It is the only one done in Australia at the moment for adults and teenagers, and would love everyone to be able to promote it. Good Australian product. There we go. So there we go. There's the contents of October, Inktober as we like to call it. Have fun with your inks this October. Share plenty of your images and enjoy using these Liquitex muted range of colours. Thank you for that, and we'll see you again next month.